A very good evening to you and welcome to the news cycle on Global TV. In Nigeria's capital, Abuja, I am Judith Peters. Organized labor storms out of meeting with FG due to no quorum. Now, the organized labor has stormed out of the meeting of the Presidential Steering Committee on Subsidy Palliatives that was scheduled to take place at the Presidential Villa, Abuja. The president of the NLC, Joe Ajero, had led his delegation to the Chief of Staff's office, venue of the meeting at about 5 p.m. but walked out of the villa moments later. The meeting could not proceed because, according to some members of the steering committee, there was no quorum. Recall that the steering committee meeting had met with the government delegation on Wednesday, where the two parties agreed to reconvene on Friday to get brief from the three sub-committees set up to look into various demands. The steering committee was set up by the government to come up with palliatives that would cushion the effect of fuel subsidy removal on the workers. But Labour claimed that the government officials were members of the mass transit, the compressed natural gas, CNG, and cash transfer subcommittees were nowhere to be found. It was gathered that the Chief of Staff, RT Honorable Femi Gbajabiamila, had earlier waited for the Labour delegation with other members of the team at his conference hall. Also, the President, Tinubu, to host ECOWAS Special Committee meeting in Niger. Following the coup in Republic of Niger that has opened the constitutional political leadership in the West African country, the chairman of the ECOWAS Authority of Heads of State and Government, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, will host a special meeting of the regional leaders on Sunday, July 30th in Abuja. This was contained in a statement signed by Dele Alake, the special advisor to the president on special duties, communications and strategy. President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, as chairman of ECOWAS, in a statement condemned the current political situation in the neighboring country and promised that ECOWAS and the international community will do everything to defend democracy and ensure democratic governance. Continues to take firm roots in the sub-region. On restoration of democratic order in Niger, in separate telephone conversation with President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, United States Vice President Kamala Harris and United Nations Secretary General Antonio Guterres expressed strong support for Nigerians' effort toward the restoration of constitutional order in the Republic of Niger. This was disclosed in a statement signed by the Special Advisor to the President on Special Duties, Communications and Strategy, Dele Alake. The two leaders also commend the Nigerian President, who is also the chairman of ECOWAS Authority of Heads of State and Government, for spearheading the peace moves. Recall that some soldiers from the Presidential Guard had moved to depose President Mohamed Bazoum's President Tinubu quickly rejected the threat to democracy in that country, sending a strong delegation to talk with all the parties with a view to restoring constitutional order in Niger. In our telephone conversation with President Tinubu at the instance of the U.S. authority, Harris praised the reform initiative of the federal government, urging the country to continue in that direction. The Senate will on Monday commence the screening of the ministerial nominees submitted by President Bola Ahmed Tinubu on Thursday. This is just as indications of the cabinet in 2 weeks. Speaking shortly after the names of 28 nominees sent to the federal lawmakers, the Senate spokesperson Yemi Adaramodu Ekiti South says the upper chamber had suspended all its activities to commence the screening immediately, saying screening will commence on Monday. Having read out the names, the Senate referred the list to the Committee of the Whole. However, he noted that the Constitution prescribed that the President shall appoint at least a minister from each of the 36 states of the Federation. The list sent by the Tinubu contained names of nominees from 25 states, leaving out 11 states. Also, the House of Representatives have urged the federal government to rehabilitate the Eastern Seaport as well as dry ports to decongest Lagos Port and encourage more patronage to grow the country's gross domestic product, GDP. Moving the motion at plenary by Mike Essett, the House noted that Nigeria had 6 major seaports, including Apapa Port and Tinkan Island ports in Lagos State. Despite having seaports in Nigeria, Apapa and Tinkan Island ports in Lagos had remained the nation's major economic gateways, while the rest remained either mostly idle or totally non-functional. Essett noted that due to the inoperation of other seaports, the Apapa and Tinkan ports are currently operating 3 times above their capacity, as they handle over 70% of Nigeria's bound import and export goods, thereby making it extremely difficult for trucks to clear their goods on time and resulting in loss of labor and resources. Now, the governor's wife meeting. The First Lady of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, Senator Oluremi Tinubu, CON, says women will play a pivotal role in nursing Nigerian back to health. She was speaking after a closed-door meeting with wives of former APC governors at the State House, Abuja. Prince Adegoke has these details.
The First Lady noted that the visit was to get the support of the wives of the former governors for the various programs of government and the Renewed Hope initiative in particular. Senator Oluremi Tinubu says the former First Ladies will be partnering with the various incumbents in their state in this regard.
I can't get to every household, so they can't stop. Even if it is reaching out to the next neighbor, they should help. So if we can cushion whatever inconvenience we are going through now, it will go a long way. So this is just part of me going into familiar territory, saying, I need you, your help. I thought about, wives of, in the Christian community, in the Muslim community. I've tried to reach out, and also the wives of royal fathers. So the royal fathers came to see His Excellency. They'll have something they are doing. We need, all hands have to be on deck, like they used to say, for this country to move forward.
Speaking on behalf of wife of the former governors, Bisi Fayemi, wife of the former governor of Ekiti State, promised that they will all be working with the First Lady, Senator Oluremi Tinubu, and wives of the governors of their various states to actualize the goals and aspirations of government.
So what is happening now is a recognition that women matter, that mothers matter, because we have a lot of influence in our communities, in our households. And so it's not just about bringing former First Ladies together. It's about recognizing the power that women have wherever they are in their local communities, and to understand that we can't achieve any of our development goals as a nation if we do not invest in the empowerment of women. So we are here as sisters to support our mother, the First Lady, in all her endeavors, especially the Renewed Hope initiative that she's going to be launching soon.
In attendance at the meeting were the wife of the Vice President, Her Excellency Hajia Nana Shetima, wife of the Senate President, Her Excellency Ekate Unoma Akpabio, and wives of 13 former governors.
Still on the news, the Acting Comptroller General of the Nigeria Custom, Bashir Adewale Adeniyi, says the service is currently reviewing the strategy of the enforcement unit. He reviewed this at a meeting with patrol heads of the Federation Operations Unit, Zone A, after rounding off his maiden visit to some area command and other customs formation in Zone A. According to him, one of the steps taken to effect change is the withdrawal of the operation of the CGC Strike Force team to strengthen the Federal Operations Unit. He says the checkpoint will be reviewed and reduced because there are so many expectations from the service in line with global standards. He further pointed out that there will be consultations with various area controllers to undertake a self-review of patrol operations. The acting CG therefore urged the personnel to be more professional and conscious without compromising national security and always uphold the ethics of the profession and the discharge of their duties and outward appearance. Following the appointment of the Acting Comptroller General of Custom, Bashir Adewale Adeniyi on the 19th of June 2023, and the retirement of some management members in the service, the Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces, Federal Republic Nigeria, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, has approved the appointment of the following Deputy Controller Generals, Ds and all Assistant Controller Generals, ACG, VCG Festus Okun, DCG Musa Baba Abdullahi, DCG Al-Bashiru Amisu, ACG Kamardin Olumo, ACG Awal Baba Muhammad, ACG Adeogun Olajoguna, while thanking the retired members of the management of their meritorious service. The Acting Controller General of Custom congratulated the newly appointed officers and charged them to redouble their efforts to ensure the service achieve greater heights in its mandate of revenue generation, suppression of smuggling, and trade facilitation. Alleged kidnapping in Abuja. The Commissioner of Police FCT, CP Haruna Garba, has debunked the news making round on media platform, alleging that kidnappers who had donned the police uniform have kidnapped 17 persons from the Apo area in Abuja. The FCT CP stated that it was not true, adding that no incidents of such happened within the FCT. This is contained in a statement signed by the Police Public Relations Officer, Josephine Ade. The Commissioner of Police urges residents of the FCT to cooperate with the police for improved service delivery. He equally tasked FCT residents to take advantage of the police control room numbers in reporting suspicious activities. And now the police learn. Haruna Garba, the Commissioner of Police at the Federal Capital Territory, has lamented that some undisclosed person dropped the command's emergency numbers with loan companies to obtain loans. The CP, however, warned those behind the act to desist from it, saying that the police would ensure they are brought to book. He also said non-state actors had also been engaging the emergency lines. Garba stated this in a statement by the command spokesperson, SP Josephine Ade, on Friday. In the same vein, the CP enjoys non-state actors will have been engaging the police emergency lines in their mischievous posts aimed at misleading members of the public and those submitting same to obtain loans to desist from such, and only use the lines for its intended purpose, as deliberate steps will be taken to arrest and prosecute the purveyors of this illegal art. Arna Garber, the Commissioner of Police at the Federal Capital Territory, has lamented that some undisclosed person dropped the command's emergency number with loans company to obtain loan. The CP, however, warned those behind the act to desist from it. In the same vein, enjoys the police emergency lines in their mischievous posts aimed at misleading members of the public and those submitting same to obtain loans to desist from it, such and only use the lines for its intended purpose, as deliberate steps will be taken to arrest and prosecute purveyors of these illegal arts. In Kano, the Serer, 130 hospitalized in Kano. The Kano State government has established 3 treatment centers as the cases of diphtheria in the state surged beyond 130. The State Commissioner for Health, Dr. Abubakar Yusuf, says the state has deployed the necessary mechanism to curtail the spread of the disease, adding that over 130 persons were admitted last Monday alone as the case continued to rise. Giving an update on the outbreak of the diseases, Yusuf lamented that a state such as Kano should not be battling such an outbreak, but for the failure of the previous administration to immunize the people. You're watching News Cycle on Global Television, coming to you live from StarTimes Channel 276 from Nigeria's capital, Abuja. Do well to follow us across our social media platform at Global TV NG. We'll be back after this break. Do not go nowhere. Welcome back. It's to the Global TV News. Now, the Corporate Affairs Commission has vowed to remove 100,000 registered companies from its database zone. Registrar General and Chief Executive Officer CAC Garba Abubakar made this known during a training on the use of the Beneficiary Ownership Register, Lagos. He says the Commission's intention to delete 100,000 registered companies from its database. Abubakar advised companies to ensure timely payment of their annual returns to avoid being struck off as they are entitled to be released after payment. Speaking on Africa's first beneficial ownership register, built by the CAC with the support and assistance of the World Bank, the Registrar General said it would go a long way in curbing corruption, money laundering, and terrorism financing. Now, on the World Bank urges Nigerians to reduce borrowing. The World Bank Group has urged Nigeria to reduce government borrowing from the central bank if it wants to reduce the inflationary pressure on the economy. World Bank's lead economist of the Nigeria, Alex Senate, stated this during an economic review section at the Lagos Business School. In his keynote presentation, Senate commended the government over its recent economic reforms, but noted that the reforms would have to be sustainable for the economy to recover from present shocks and record considerable growth in the near future. According to him, the fact that petrol price has significantly increased created pressure on the economy. He says variety of solution would have to be devised in order to mobilize more revenue in a way that spending would be increased to tackle the real priorities in the country. Also, the pension transmission arrangement decorates has announced the implementation of the newly monthly pension, which will commence in August 2023 payroll, as against July as earlier proposed. The change in the implementation date has become necessary in order to resolve all the logistics challenges that have impacted the production and the dispatch of the letters to all the affected pensioners. This is contained in a statement signed by the Directorate. It could be recalled that in June 2023, PCAD held a focused stakeholders meeting with pension union executives and pension desk officers of the power and transport sector. Now on the foreign scene, former President Donald Trump faced fresh charges Thursday. The former U.S. president is facing fresh charges accusing him of attempting to obstruct an investigation into mishandling top-secret document. The indictment alleges that he conspired to delete surveillance footage at his Mar-a-Lago property in Florida. The new charges have been unsealed as Trump remains the frontrunner in the 2024 Republican presidential primary. This comes as a lawyer met with Justice Department officials regarding a separate expected indictment over alleged efforts to overturn the 2020 election result. Recall that last month, Trump was first indicted in the classified document case, accused of endangering national security by retaining sensitive information after leaving the White House. Trump is set to go on trial in May next year. Also, Donald Trump presidency. Former U.S. President Donald Trump said on Friday that he would not end his run for the White House if convicted and sentenced in any of the criminal investigations threatening to derail his tumultuous comeback bid. The Republican frontrunner was discussing the multiple indictment he faces as he pushes for a second term, a day after prosecutors broadened the charges against him over his handling of classified government document. When asked by a radio host named John Frederick if being sentenced would stop his campaign, Trump quickly responded, "Not at all. There is nothing in the Constitution to say that it could." And founder of the Wagner private military company was spotted inside Russia on Thursday for the first time since they led an armed rebellion against the Russian military last month. Prigozhin was seen in St. Petersburg at a meeting with an African dignitary on the sidelines of the Russia-African Summit. According to accounts associated with the mercenaries group, the dignitary is part of the Central African Republic delegation to the summit. Wagner has had a presence in the Central African Republic for several years. Now in sports, women's Afro basket, just like the Super Falcons are doing exploits in Australia and New Zealand, African champions, the Tigers of Nigeria, have today started their title defense with a win over Democratic Republic of Congo in the first game of the 2023 FIFA Women's Afro basket in Kigali. The Tigers of Nigeria scored 69 points against Democratic Republic of Congo's 35 in Group D and finished ahead in all 4 quarters to seal the victory. Up next for the Tigers is the final group game against Egypt, built for Monday, July 31st. And more in sports, let's join Fidelis Iagoena for updates.
Despite bouncing back from their 2-1 defeat to Sweden in their opening match, the Banyana of South Africa gave away a 2-goal lead and missed the chance to record a first-ever World Cup win in their 2-2 draw with Argentina in the early hours of Friday. South Africa took the lead in the 29th minute from Linda Montalo's tap-in, following a video assistance referee decision before Thembi Talana got the second 16 minutes into the second half. The Banyana were unable to maintain their lead as Sophia Brown pulled a goal back in the 73rd minute, while Romina Nunes completed the comeback for Argentina in the 79th minute. The African champions must now beat Italy in their final group game to stand a chance of making it into the round of 16. From the sports desk of Global Television News, Fidelis Iagoena reporting.
And that's all for News Cycle on Global TV, live from Nigeria's capital, Abuja. Do not forget to on Star Times, channel 276 from Abuja, Nigeria's capital. You can also follow us across our social media platform at Global TV NG. On behalf of the production team, I am Judith Peters. Have a great night rest.